What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about current news in Norway. Because as an American, I never get to see or hear about Norwegian news here in the United States. So today, I'd like to take some time to learn about the current news and events happening in Norway right now. Starting with this article, Norway boosts crisis preparedness. That's hard to say. Oh my god, that's a tongue twister. Norway boosts crisis preparedness. What does this mean exactly? What kind of crisis are we talking about? Norway is increasing its crisis preparedness. Being prepared for what exactly? War in Europe, digital threats, climate change have prompted Norwegian officials to expand their crisis preparedness guidelines and cooperate more closely with the EU. Yeah, I guess when you put it that way, there's a lot of scary stuff happening in the world right now. A lot of scary stuff happening for Norway, honestly, that Norway has to worry about. War in Europe, for sure. Digital threats and climate change. Yep. Everyone in the country should now be able to get along without water, electricity, digital communication, and electronic payment systems for at least 7 days? What? What is this? I was not expecting this. This is like a new Norwegian policy? This makes it sound like Norway and Norwegians are getting ready for like the end of the world, like the apocalypse. Everyone in Norway needs to be able to survive without water, electricity, communications, and payment for 7 days? Really? That is scary. That's scary that Norway even has to implement this policy. So, what does that mean exactly? Do all Norwegians need to keep 7 days of water inside your home? Or what about electricity? You need like a backup generator? Or you just need to be able to survive without electricity? So you need like wood and fire to be able to cook food? This really sounds like surviving the apocalypse. Does Norway actually think there's a remote possibility that Norwegians could be in a situation where you lose access to water, electricity, communication? Wow. To me, this is like really jarring. This is big. Like this is actually a policy Norway is putting into place. That's up from earlier preparedness guidelines that advised Norwegians to have enough food and drink and supplies for 3 days. Wow. So Norway already had a policy. These are just suggestions. This is just guidelines that Norwegians don't have to do this, but it's being recommended that you have all this survival necessities. Now Norway's Civil Defense and Preparedness Agency is urging everyone to be ready for a crisis for much longer. Wow. Wow. See, this is why I think it's really important for me to go out of my way and learn about Norwegian news. I had no idea about this. I knew Norway was facing, a lot of tough times. There's a lot of war and conflict happening around Norway. And Norway is a part of it in that sense. And Norway borders Russia, and that's been trouble. And I didn't know it was this level of urgency. I think most Americans have no idea about this. What is this? So is this what you need? Like bottles of water, wood, a lantern, food? Oh my gosh, we live in a steadily more uneasy world. Even if most things function as they should in Norway, we should be prepared for extreme weather, pandemics, accidents, sabotage, and even war. Wow. Wow. So this is just like a worst case scenario planning. I mean, honestly, it's probably good, like that you have plans like this prepared in case of these worst case scenarios, like here in America. And I think it has to do with how far away we feel from everything. There's no talks of anything like this. This would be unheard of in America. I think that's part of why it shocks me so much. I can't put myself in the position of a Norwegian. Also, geographically, Norway is right next to Russia. You know, it's not that far, like by Ukraine, like in Europe. Um, yeah, it's even closer to like Israel-Palestine conflict. Much closer than like the United States is, anyway. So yeah, this isn't even something that Americans think about. But I'm glad that I'm aware of this now. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. What is this? New fatal accident at Prekestolen. What is Prekestolen? Wait, what? Prekestolen is it's like a cliff. It's like a tourist cliff. There's a fatal accident. Someone died. Someone died at Prekestolen. This is the famous Norwegian cliff, right? Like I've learned about this a bit. There's a new fatal accident at Prekestolen. Oh my god. The trail heading up to Norway's popular Prekestolen was closed for several hours on Monday after a hiker slipped and fell close to its summit. Wow. Someone actually died, like on this. Have people died before on this, or is this like the first of its kind? Because I know this can be dangerous. Man, that's heartbreaking. That's really sad. Really sad for this hiker and their family. The hiker's body, which fell 200 meters, they fell off the cliff basically at Prekestolen. They fell 200 meters, which is a long, long way. The body was later found with the help of a helicopter. Oh yeah, here's a picture. Oh my god. Oh my god. So there's no like safety rail or bars by the edge. You're allowed to go up on this cliff and go right up next to the edge at your own discretion, knowing that it's dangerous. Man, when you have something like this open to the public, I guess it's just a matter of time. Unfortunately, when this happens, there's several 100,000 visitors a year. Yeah, I mean, if there's several 100,000 people every year, someone's probably going to get in an accident. I don't know, what can you do? It's just very sad. Details were sketchy. And they reported that those following the victim couldn't see what happened. Local newspaper reported that the deceased was a Norwegian man. See, I assumed this was probably a tourist or someone who didn't know what they were doing. This is actually a Norwegian man hiking alone. They fell at 10:30 a.m., like 150 or 200 meters. Oh, 150 meters from the summit, from the top, and they still fell 200 meters. This is just sad and tragic, and others making the trek had determined it was too slippery to venture close to the mountain's edge. It was slippery. See, that's how it happens, huh? Someone thinks that they're capable of doing something more than they are, or that they're going to try to do something when it's not safe conditions, and then accidents happen. Police described the fatality as a tragic accident. The victim was carrying identification and a phone. The police contacted his family. Wow. I can't believe that. This is a famous cliff. Famous, one of the most famous in all of Norway. Wow, they actually only closed it down for a couple of hours? Is that right? It was closed for several hours. That means they actually opened it back up the same day. I guess like there's a lot of people who have traveled to come see it, but How disturbing would that be? That the day you go to see Preikestolen, someone died. That just sad. Sad. Wow. Let's keep going here. Next, we have strikes hit police, universities, ministries, even weather forecasters. Strikes? Strikes in Norway? About what? What are these strikes about? See, it's crazy. All this huge news happening in Norway, and I don't hear about any of it. I don't hear about any of it in America. Strikes are hitting the police and the universities, ministries, and weather forecasters. Most threatened strikes have been averted at the last minute in Norway this spring, while some strikers were ordered back to work this week. An ongoing strike by the Labor Federation Union, however, has kept expanding. It represents a wide range of public sector employees who are demanding higher pay and the right to retain their own collective bargaining agreement. I think a few weeks ago I learned about farmers on strike in Norway. Is that have anything to do with this? This seems to be even more, though. This is much more than farmers. This is also police are on strike. That's kind of dangerous. No police, universities on strike, ministries, weather forecasters. Really? This is Norway's largest trade union federation, settled with the state in late May, but they're still not happy, I guess. The Norway's largest trade federation, settled last May. And the federation's Unio and Akademikern negotiated separately for their own labor pacts, and they opted to strike. So there's several labor groups in Norway. Some have settled, some are on strike. The Labor Party-led government, which came to terms with Lo, but have not come to terms with the Unio and Akademikern, and they're not happy either. Okay, so there's several labor unions in Norway. Some of them are on strike. Wow. Some people are criticizing it, calling pure egoism. Wow. The state found an opportunity to end the strike after it had come to include employees at Norway's National Security Authority, along with inspectors from the Food Safety Authority. With too many of them off on strike, national security could be threatened. Wow. Seriously. This sounds really big, like a lot of different sectors and corporations in Norway had people on strike. This was actually disrupting Norwegian national security and the economy of Norway. Chickens wouldn't be cleared for slaughter. There were animal welfare concerns. Members of Akademikern were ordered back to work pending mandatory arbitration. So the strike has ended for now, and they are going to have a conversation and negotiation about this. Wow. But Unio is still on strike, pulling more members off the job. Wow. More than 50 state meteorologists. No kidding. Wow. Police in charge of passport control at Norwegian airports were also going to join the strike. Wow, this is big. This is really affecting a lot of different parts of Norway. Wow. So is that still going on? At least for the members of Unio may still be on strike. Wow, I hope that everyone can come to some kind of agreement or settlement on this, because this sounds like a huge headache for Norway. I don't know. I don't know the details about this strike. I don't know if the people on strike have a good argument or really anything about that, but this is big. Wow. Wow. Okay. And, oh, look at this. The other article here is the Labor Minister has halted the strike. Really? So this is like very, very up-to-date news. The strike has been halted. Okay. The Labour Party fully supports workers' rights to strike, but its labor minister has halted a major strike by the state's most highly educated workers. The strike was politically charged. Both the state and government in which Brenna serves has refused to negotiate with the two labor union federations. Well, it sounds like they are going to negotiate now. It sounds like this strike accomplished what the unions wanted, and they kind of had to beg them to please end the strike because this was really, really starting to affect Norway in a big way. They're going to have arbitration, so negotiations. Wow. Wow. Okay. Huh. I didn't know anything about that. Let's take a look at another article here real quick before we wrap this up. Some more, I don't know, uplifting or positive news in Norway. Viking sword with very rare inscription was discovered on a family farm in Norway. An old Viking sword discovered in Norway. That is cool. And a nice change up from all of the sort of negative news happening in Norway, honestly. The ancient weapon seems to be a rare type of iron sword made in the Frankish Empire. There it is! Wow, I wouldn't have even known this is a sword. I can kind of see it, but I would have thought this was just a strange rock. It's so old and so covered in rock. So this is actually an ancient Viking sword, not a rock. But it was found while clearing a farm. A Norwegian man discovered a rare Viking Age sword. It's 1,000 years old. That is awesome. And he found it in his farm. That's so crazy. Imagine just finding this on your property. When a piece of old iron turned up, he was about to throw it away. But closer inspection revealed it was a centuries-old sword. He contacted archaeologists with the local government, as Norwegian law requires. Oh, really? They actually have laws about this. That's probably for the best, so that people don't accidentally throw away priceless artifacts. I quickly realized this was not an everyday find, says Lovra, a part-time farmer and ferry engineer. No kidding. That is really cool. Wow. Oh, it's inside of it. This is an X-ray scan. There's a sword inside of that rock. Wow. You don't find this kind of thing every day. That's cool. Okay, that is a cool article. And with that, I think that's a pretty good place to stop. What a lot of news this week. My goodness. A lot of stuff happening in Norway. I feel like now I'm much more up to date on what's happening currently now in Norway, which is great. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of the Norwegian news this week. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and Norwegian culture and learning things about Norway for the first time, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.